If I had to choose only one fragrance from each niche brand to keep for life, these are the 10 I would choose from 10 different brands. With niche fragrances becoming increasingly more complex and becoming a more intriguing part of the hobby, a lot of you might be wondering which fragrances to go for in each brand. They have so many options and varieties in each niche brand now that it can be a little bit overwhelming. So hopefully me providing what I would keep as my one for life from each brand will help you, get something to explore the brand with each fragrance. And you guys see my subjective opinion with the taste that I have as well personally. So it's a mixture of what I think are the best from the brand, also my personal style. Let's begin. Make sure you get Atrium's next summertime fragrance, Mr. Radiance, which you can do so through the link in the description and pinned comment down below. This is the first ever real oud mango aquatic fragrance ever made. You can get it for only 5 days through pre-order, and it comes with a complimentary sample to try the fragrance out first. Click the link in the description down below, guys. Thank you. We're gonna go super fancy straight away, Xerjoff Alexandria II. When you hear Xerjoff, you think of a lot of their popular stuff like Naxos, Tonia Yomi Special, you have Ouden, 40 knots as well is often mentioned on this channel, but I still think if I had to keep only one for life, it'll be this fragrance here. It's a very special rose and oud scent. Rose and oud can be a very boring combination because it's been done a million times now, but it's kind of like a horse that's been beaten until it's been dead for like years now, and I think it's kind of boring, it's kind of repetitive, sort of like the Creed Aventus DNA, a great idea, but it's been overly done now. Alexandria II, though, is special. It has such unique and high quality, expensive smelling naturals. Very woody, ambery, multifaceted, musky, inviting. Has a slight animalic aspect to it from real oud here. I think they're using extremely high quality, high grade, real oud that's definitely prominent in the scent profile, but the rose and the amber softens it out and makes it really elegant, super long lasting, super thick. You can tell like they've used a really high fragrance oil concentration. It becomes like a thick oil on your skin that just lasts. It's a soft immediate projection, really classy scent bubble, but it lasts probably maybe 24 hours, 20 hours plus. It lasts forever. And when you're spending this kind of price tag, this is the kind of fragrance you go for. When you go into the niche realm, you always wonder, am I getting my money's worth? A lot of brands you don't actually, in my opinion, but with this release, you definitely do. And I think with Xerjoff in general, they are a great brand that give you your value for money. Parfum de Marly's Carlisle. This is not one of their easier scents. It's not one of their most popular. Parfum de Marly is actually kind of going more into a mass appealing, almost that designer-esque direction, in my opinion, nowadays, which is a bit lame. It's a bit disappointing, in my opinion. But Carlisle is not trying to be mass appealing. It is a little bit challenging, but still gorgeous. Dark, mysterious perfumery is often not for me. I kind of find it a little bit awkward to wear. It's not easy to wear. It's not easy to like from my end, but this is one of the best. It's masculine, powerful, spicy, and softened out by rose and vanilla here as well. And obviously the darkness comes from patchouli. Most dark scents have patchouli. That's where the darkness comes from usually. And this just has a maturity, a richness, longevity, performance, and it just stands out. It's a very distinct scent that's not really been recreated ever, in my opinion. Some people compare it to red tobacco. I do not think red tobacco comes to this. Red tobacco intense, maybe a little closer, but I still think this stands on its own. If you want a cold weather, dark, mysterious signature with a bit of maturity, this is the fragrance to go for. Notice how I'm not going for the mass appealing stuff so far. I actually think for your for life fragrances, a fragrance needs to be special. So you might often find that the stuff that you start off with in your collection early on, you don't have it as your for life fragrances later. Usually everyone has their own specific style. You're looking for something that's really gonna match you and your personality perfectly. Cedrat Boise Intense by Mancera. Now I know I was just criticizing the Aventus DNA, and this is why I would not have included the original Cedrat Boise in this list, but actually I think Intense gets away from that original idea of sort of trying to recreate the success of Aventus. Cedrat Boise original was never a clone of Aventus. It was sort of like Mancera's take on a kind of similar idea. But Cedrat Boise Intense goes in a more thick, luxurious, interesting direction with the synthetic oud in here. Leather, it's more base heavy, thickened out, longer lasting, 12 hours longevity with soft and medium projection. I may have gone for Amore Cafe in this spot, but Amore Cafe, I love the scent, but the versatility of this is what just edges it out for me just a little bit. This is what makes it win. And I think Cedrat Boise Intense is just a beautiful, smoky, masculine, citrus signature that I just think is just very intoxicating. You smell like a real man, but it smells really easy to wear. It's like the niche fragrance collector's Dior Sauvage. It's not a clone of Sauvage or anything, but it's sort of like, that woody citrus cologne that's mass appealing, versatile, long lasting. This is the replacement for something like that. And it has just a really handsome ruggedness to it. I like the masculinity in this bottle. I like how it's just an interesting signature. It's definitely one to check out from this brand. 32% of people who watch School of Scent are subscribed to us. If you guys want to see our channel grow, to really help us out, click subscribe. Let's get that number to 40%. Thank you. Penhaligon Sartorial. Again, not one of the more mainstream fragrances in the brand. It doesn't have a big animal head on it, so that makes it less appealing probably to a lot of the populace. But Sartorial is a classic from Penhaligons. It takes barbershop perfumery, the lavender, the soapy DNA from the 20th century. It's very traditionally associated with that time, and makes it not boring. A lot of barbershop lavender fougères can be boring by today's standards, but this keeps that elegance, that class, but adds another sense of refinement with a really interesting honey note, which makes it unique. And then these iron shirt, freshly pressed iron shirt musks that makes it more clean and just comes alive. I think this is just a really special scent, has its own texture to it that's very unique. It's not really found in any other fragrances. So if you want pure class, pure elegance, outside of the summertime, this is the fragrance to go for. If you're a classy, refined gentleman who wears suits, for example, the perfect signature. Memoirs of a Perfume Collector, Trouble in Paradise. If you haven't checked this brand out, you really should. Either this or Tales from Zanzibar are one of the first two fragrances you should check out. If you're looking for creative ways for a brand to utilize oud, this is the brand for you. I feel like oud is involved in most of their creations, often some sort of fruity elements, and all of them are some sort of interesting notes. Like this has mango and oud, Tales of Zanzibar is guava and oud, and I think Bond Street Leather is cotton candy and oud and leather as well. So really interesting brand. I think MOAPC are really up and coming. If you want a really interesting, super creative summer scent, which is hard to come by, but at the same time it's not difficult to love. It's a really easy to enjoy fragrance. You want some sweetness, interestingness like caramel, rum, the oud, the mango in here. I think this is the fragrance, like everyone who is exploring niche summer perfumery should check this out. 8 hours longevity with media projection, unisex, leaning a little bit masculine, nice and musky as well. I think that's what gives it that masculine edge. And the sweetness here makes it suitable for both the day and the night, in my opinion. So if you want a true signature in the warm weather, get this really beautiful tropical creation. By Kilian's Angel Share. I don't really like a lot of Kilian stuff. They're often quite dense, heavy, or polarizing scents. And a lot of times I want the fragrance from them to be, either masculine or feminine. A lot of times you just can't tell with Kilian. It can go either way, which I don't like. I quite actually like fragrances being gendered and you know what you're getting. You're getting a masculine or a feminine scent, but hey, that's just me. But Angel's Share overall is unisex. Actually, after saying all that, Angel's Share is just a very beautiful creation. It definitely stands out from the rest of the brand. You don't really see people talking about the rest of like this whiskey glass collection, for example. Angel's Share definitely gets the main spotlight, and I can see why. It's just a very beautiful, spicy gourmand. Cinnamon, apple pie kind of effect, mixed with whiskey, some sort of boozy note in here with praline as well. A very unique but also balanced amber evening DNA. It smells like elegance, class, sex appeal as well. If you want a sexy fragrance for either gender and lasts a really long time as well, this is the fragrance to do it for you. This is a great attention-grabbing scent, but not too loud overall. Just very classy evening scent overall, more for the cold weather. Acqua di Parma's Oud. I associate Acqua di Parma with refinement, elegance, Italian luxury, and I think their Colonia line is their most classic for a reason. I think that's the line that represents that the most. It's very classical barbershop infused fougère perfumery throughout the line, but then each flanker, I know this is now called Acqua di Parma Oud, but it used to be called Colonia Oud, and I'm pretty sure the black bottles are still a very similar scent profile. They took that classiness, that fougère citrus perfumery, added this synthetic but thick feeling oud that's very fresh and very long lasting. This is a very unique oud scent. If you want an oud fragrance as a signature, You can wear most of the year round. It lasts at least 12 hours. This is the fragrance to go for. It's just a very unique take. It's almost like a citrus aquatic oud. That's what it smells like, even though the notes don't really represent that. That's what I get to my nose, and that's the only way I can describe it. It smells like those notes, but combine that with a richness and elegance, a really just standout, distinct, refined perfume. So if you want refinement, go for this fragrance. Roja Burlington 1819. Roja is another brand that kind of feels a little bit overrated. I don't like a lot of his stuff, but this is one of my for life fragrances easily. I'll always have this in most of my lists like this, because it's a very complex, interesting citrus scent. Citrus perfumery can often be very simple, a little bit boring, but very safe, and just easy to like. But Burlington 1819 goes in a bit of a different direction while still smelling transparent, fresh, and still very long lasting. It has these spices in here. This cumin notes can be a little bit challenging, but overall I think this is just a very pleasant, luxurious, but still complex fragrance. It smells like wealth, and it smells mature as well. If you want a masculine, mature summer signature, this is the fragrance to go for. I get orange, amber, rum, mint, spices, and really long lasting musks. Overall, it's never too cloying. And although it has some complexity, it doesn't feel too challenging either, in my opinion. So if you like that kind of vibe, you're looking for something like this for the warm weather, try this out. This is a standout citrus fragrance. Tom Ford's Fougère d'Argent. I'm including the private blend here from Tom Ford because it's kind of like their niche offerings, so I'll include it here. I didn't go for oud wood because you can probably go for carved oud by Thameen instead, which is probably a better alternative nowadays. Fougère d'Argent holds a special place in my heart because it feels like it's the only fragrance nowadays that really stays true to that classical, creamy Fougère vibe, a really classical but still modern take on the Fougère that was popularized in the early 2000s by Rive Gauche, the black tin can bottle from YSL, which actually I think that release was creatively directed by Tom Ford himself back when he worked for YSL. So I feel like that's inspired this scent, a really creamy, rich, woody Fougère that just keeps on going in a really soft but elegant way. If you want soapy cleanness in a very classical way that still smells modern, this is the fragrance to go for. Beau de Jour would be an alternative to this, but that's more loud and amber based. This is just a bit more clean, classical, a style that I really appreciate. I think it's done to perfection here. Try to get the older bottles of Fougère d'Argent if you can. I feel like reformulations have messed the formula up a little bit, but I still think this DNA is something for life. And lastly, in the brand of Amouage, Interlude Black Iris. This fragrance has to stay in my collection because every time I smell it, even just through the lids, I feel like I'm being taken on a journey. There are so many layers, so much to unpack here that it would feel a shame not to have this in my collection forever. It is dark, powdery, uses some of the best ingredients in the world whilst being beastly. It feels like a niche fragrance that's easily worth its price tag. I paid maybe £200 for this. Sometimes you can get even cheaper than that, which is actually, I think, is a steal. It's actually kind of unfair. I think this is easily £300 smelling. I can't say that everyone's going to love this, but I think it's difficult for people to say this doesn't smell like the highest end of niche perfumery. It's got so much going on. It's thick, multifaceted, layered, real oud, real orris, most expensive ingredients. I think it has myrrh, opopanax, some of the most expensive ambers as well out there. I can't really see how this would, how this should ever be really priced too low, because it just has a beautiful, rich, ambery darkness with a hint of smokiness, but it's always balanced out by all its other ingredients. It has so much going on. It's one of the best cold weather evening scents of all time. As a winter fragrance, this is a 10 out of 10. And that concludes this video, guys. Which niche brands do you wish you had seen in this list today? What are some fragrances that you would keep as one bottle for life from each niche brand? Do you feel like niche brands are going in the right or wrong direction? Do you feel like they're becoming a little bit too mainstream, mass appealing? Or do you think actually the industry is generally going in a more creative direction? I'd love to hear your thoughts on my list today, guys, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this subject also. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to check out our previous video on niche fragrances. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.